Johnson. Care for a rub down?
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Something special is about to happen.
Are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
Very aroused.
It's better than later.
Let's do this! That is incredible! That is unbelievable! That is brilliant!
Yeah, g'day rubbers. Welcome back to the weekly Rub Down, a podcast that rubs down everything NRL Supercoach. You are listening to the pre-season injury Rub Down. I'm your host, Natty, and with me as always, riding shotgun in the Rubmobile is the Stats Daddy Wooker. What's doing, baby?
Mate, it's been a long time between drinks.
No, talking about drinks, I'm about to crack another one.
Minutes.
Now, with the injury rub, we can't do it without the soft, supple hands of Brien Seeney, a.k.a. the NRL Physio. What's going on, brother? Welcome back to the Rub.
Boys, it has been a day.
Hasn't it just?
I messaged Natty about 2 hours ago and I said, do we even need to talk about injuries? Like, do injuries even matter at this point in time? Because, I'll say that a lot of my prep, I have not had time to even kind of absorb it. But
Yeah.
if I get any calls wrong tonight, it's all because they changed the stats and I haven't had a chance to figure it out, not because I'm bad at injury analysis. So I'm just getting that out of the way early. And if I'm right, it's all because I'm good.
Yep,
Fair
I
play,
love that.
fair play.
And let's lean right into that. If we don't win a championship this year, it's because they did that. It's because they changed the stats. It's rattled us that much that we didn't win a championship. Now, if we do win a championship, we were just that good to overcome such turmoil early in the preseason. So I like where your head's at, Brian. It's good. It's good. What's been doing, mate? Obviously, the podcast is up and running again. The Magic Sponge, we love that. You just said you're starting to dip your toe into a bit of draft prep. Talk to me, son.
Yeah, I think we recorded our first podcast on Sunday, and I must admit I'd done some injury prep, but I hadn't done a lot of Supercoach. I hadn't even really created I haven't logged on for this year. But then this weekend we've got our Froths and Fades podcast, which is where we go through every position and talk about our frost. I've dug deep in the last couple of days and I've got some good, I did have some good Supercoach takes until they came and changed all the scoring system on us today, but I'm still going to back myself and I'm going to overcome. And yeah, look, it's good time of year. I love this time of year. I think you boys would be the same. I remember round 24, 25 last year. There's just so many shit games. And you're just going, just bring on finals at this point in time. Whereas now I'm just frothing for, I think someone said there's 40-something weeks of footy in a row almost coming up. And that could not sound any better to me, to be honest.
World Cup after the finals. Oh my God, just hooking into my veins.
Especially for and you know yourself, Brian, as a content creator, towards the back end of the season. And honestly, there was a time before we had the Patreon that we would just shut up shop around round 18 and just go, that'll do. Because just honestly burnt out from talking about rugby league, just consuming it, just putting it out there. So there is a bit of a lull there after State of Origin where you're just let's get to some interesting fucking games already. And then, you have a little bit of a break and everyone starts getting geared up and G'd up for the season, especially for drafters. You start talking about where you're picking, who you're big on, who's your big call going to be. I mean, when those ideas and chat starts getting floated around, everyone's just hard as cat's head and we're just ready to go, baby. Ready to fire on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think I made the joke. I went to my DM requests a couple of weeks ago for the first time.
I saw that.
The first time in all off season pretty much. So, and it's just bot after bot after bot offering to suck me off or, something like that. And I'm
sounds terrible.
I'm ready for my DMs to be filled with
do that for free.
drafters. Yeah, that's right. I'm ready for drafters.
Those bots are Wooker.
His burners. I'm ready for drafters. I'm ready for Supercoach, fantasy, rabid footy fans to get in my DMs and ask me 70 million times what some bench player from the Raiders is doing this week because they're in their fantasy team. So
Any updates on Twile?
Yeah,
it's back. It'll last.
Just-
My want for that will last all of 2 weeks, and then I'll be
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
I'll turn this back off again.
When do you have your draft, your home league? Do you have that set up? Set a
No,
date?
we haven't set a date yet. Have not set a date yet, but it'll be, well, especially after the goings on of today, I think it'll be the last possible time that we can make it, because it's it's a bit of pandemonium. I feel for those guys who've drafted already, even though it's
Yeah.
dumb. I do.
Serves
feel
you
for
right, to be honest.
We're even half talking about like canning round 1 just because of the split round, and just taking it from round 2 onwards, and
Oh yeah.
drafting that weekend. But I think there's too much fun to be had. Too many DJs in our league,
I
mate.
don't think I could watch round 1 without Supercoach players in there.
You
I
kind of
don't
have the
think I could
twitches
do
and
it.
you're like,
Especially if like someone who you're really high on fucking went off, and you were like,
Yeah.
fuck, I could have got him in round 8, and now he's going to round 4.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I'd be filthy.
You'd be kicking yourself.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, how do you guys select your draft order?
We usually do like find the most absurd sporting, well, when I say sporting, like a competitive event that we can find around the world, and then you just get assigned, a competitor in that thing.
Yep.
And then and it's like, I think one time it was like like European handball tournament, so like all the
Love
fellas
that.
are like, like you're getting
Dribbly.
you're getting behind like the European, the Austrian handball team, and I'm like looking up stats going, yep, okay, they're in for a good shot
That's
in this
good.
tournament. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way. We've done it. I think one year we did like there's some guy you can pay to do like marble racing or whatever, and you each get a marble and stuff like that. But that was all right. But I do like the like eclectic sporting event one. It's probably the best.
Early on, we used to do 9s, so we did the same thing. We would draw out of the hat teams from the 9s and do it that way. But now we've got like this Challenger Palooza that goes on Saturday.
Yes, I did see that last year. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
marble
fun.
races. We've over the years we've built our own marble race. So
Nice.
there's a few boys that get involved and set it all up. Like I think there's 4 or 5 pieces to it, and it's all made with nails coming out of it and bits and pieces. And
I think if you set it up yourselves, it'd be a lot better. Like when you're just watching some
Yeah.
random do it on YouTube, I'm like,
Oh,
yeah.
We're all
And
there
usually it's
looking
pretty
over
late.
it and like
It's
throwing
late in the
abuse
day,
at it.
so we're all so drunk, and there's so many discrepancies about you touched my marble, and it's just
Touch my marbles.
it just gets fucking wild.
Oh,
so
so good.
yeah, we're gearing up. That's like next weekend, isn't it? What?
Nah, it's not next weekend, the weekend after.
Get me there. Get me there. I need it. I need
Fuck.
it. I'm looking forward
Next weekend, mate. The missus would not be happy if it was next weekend. She'd be
Yeah,
like,
true.
to it. Yeah. All right. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. I have to find your little sting here, Brian. We can't go any further without playing your own sting. It's a good one. There it is. And then we'll get into some injury news, baby.
He's injured, in
I've
fact.
suffered a bad case of syndesmosis. The most common is a direct blow to the head.
Also, the pec injury can come into play.
Or the best one, collateral ligament.
Perhaps you could toss me a Band-Aid or some antibacterial cream.
Get up, tough it out, you'll be right.
It's top shelf stuff there, Brian. Top shelf.
He's a genius, that fella.
All right. Head concussion. We'll just talk about Eli Katoa and Gerbo to kick it off here, bro.
Yeah, mate. Eli Katoa, I think we said on the Sponge on Sunday, it was like probably a blessing in disguise that we'd kind of wrapped up podcasting by that point of the year, because I think like it would have been some pretty emotional.
Mate, there would have been steam coming out of your ears, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So look, I think there's a lot of chatter about, he was at training this, in the last month, just running around. He could be back this year. I mean, it has happened before where guys have come back from this, but it's usually measured in years, not months. Any type of return to contact sport. To be perfectly honest, he is lucky to still be with us, and B, he's lucky to still have all these, to be able to go out there and run and do those things. So, by all accounts of what's been reported. So, yeah, just obviously off the draft boards, and it pumps up a few other guys. So, yeah, just feel for him. Boys, to go from the somber side of head injuries to the very happy side is that Jake Trbojevic is completely cured because he's found a new magic headgear that means that he won't suffer any concussions this year.
He's cracked the code.
What are we calling that thing? The bubble cap?
The bubble cap.
The bubble cap?
I don't even know. Like, I'm seriously.
But it's supported by medical evidence.
Yeah,
apparently.
I think I'm going to do one more reel on it. I'm going to do one more reel on it this weekend. I'm going to record one. I'm going to put it out there, and I just want to. I can't believe they're still fucking doing it. Like, how? How are we here? The bloody the headgear that go on top of the NFL helmets don't even work. And we're still going down this track. Like, oh, it infuriates me.
What if the bubbles are bigger?
No? Yeah, what if?
Poke the bear, mate. Keep poking the bear.
Boy.
Oh, yeah.
It's something else. Something else.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness with Gerbo, we've spoken about him, and obviously he's not sort of that 80-minute guy anymore. I reckon those minutes will get cut. But with those head knocks, and I mean, take out, that he's invincible now with the bubble cap. But obviously, for me, it pumps up guys because that pack is quite light. It pumps up those guys like Paseka for me.
Oh, Ethan Bullymore,
just
massively.
because Gerbo's not the guy that's sucking up all those minutes.
100%, yeah, and if he does cop another one, and unfortunately, I hate to say it, even though he's got his headgear on, he's just as likely to suffer a concussion by what we know now. I know, crazy.
He could get hit between the bubbles.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep,
that's
yep,
right.
That's what it is.
And it's over, baby. It's over.
But yeah, so I obviously down on Gerbo. I think maybe this new tackle interpretation with like flops and stuff like that at the end might benefit him.
He is a bit of a flopperella.
He doesn't mind. He doesn't mind that. But I think I'm really high. I'm really high on those Manly forwards, and it also gives me a little bit more confidence in like a Jake Simpkin, for example, because I don't think they have much hooking depth there anyway, but B, it's like if Gerbo was in there and able to play 80 minutes every week, they probably just carry a utility on the bench anyway, because they're like, well, we got Gerbo to play 80, so it'll be fine.
For sure.
But that doesn't exist anymore, so potential for 4 forwards on the bench just rises that little bit.
Exactly, that's 6 forward.
Well, no,
bench.
sorry,
Like,
six. There, sorry, I just forgot about the 6 forward thing.
No, the 6 forward bench, just like that's another disruptor for the Supercoach season.
So sorry, it'll probably be 4 forwards, an outside back, and a half. But I just think with Gerbo not playing 80, it's more than likely or higher likelihood that they'll use those forwards more.
Yeah, I mean they did bring in Zach Docker-Clay from the Roosters, so they may use him. Like trials is just going to be so important just to see how that actually rolls out.
And it's going to be game by game, right? Like that's the other thing 100%. Too, is that because they've got the flexibility to have Zach Docker-Clay on there week in and week out, you just don't know. Whoever Siebes might see that, whatever game it is, I think we could use an injection here, and then he goes. And you just don't know. So,
and you guys are huge fans of Siebes as well, so you'd be very keen to see what happens when he pulls out.
Mate, it's $1. Well, no, sorry, he and Todd Payton are $1 each.
Payton has to be close. He has to be close.
They are just woeful.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want in those sort of teams with those coaches. There's more grey area.
Yeah, fantastic.
That's what you want. Yeah, like which 4 fucking bench players are going to use out of the 6? Great. I can't. This season's going to be. Whoo! If I wasn't already an alcoholic, I'd probably turn to the booze. But anyway, I'm already there. Let's get into arm, shoulder, neck, hand. Heaps of shoulders. Holy, every man and his fucking dog lining up for shoulder surgery over the off season. Tommy Flegler, Tom Gilbert, Dan Saifidi, a few of your boys there, Brian, Griff Neem, Val Holmes, Toby Couchman, Ruben Garrick, Hamali Olakawado, Xavier Savage, AJ Brimson with an AC. Do you want to talk about all of them? Do you want to touch on a few? Dive into them? Let's get weird.
Yeah, I think just like we're mostly talking shoulders here. I think AJ Brimson, you can rule him out, rule him out of needing to worry about him because it's just an AC joint. Like, he'll be sweet. All the rest are shoulder recos. I forgot to add in just as you were reading down there.
Rocco Berry?
Rocco Berry and Jeremiah Nanai.
Yeah,
so
true.
he had a reco. He's going to miss the first 3 or 4 weeks. As a general rule, a couple of things that I talk about with shoulder recos. So you're looking at forwards are more affected because they obviously have to make more tackles, make more, runs up the middle, those kind of things. And also and this is pretty obvious, but like the sooner or the further back in time that they had the shoulder reco, the more confident I am on them. So if they're like a Jeremiah Nanai, those guys, Ruben Garrick, these kind of guys who had the Rico or Olakawatu at the end of the season, as opposed to guys like Couchman, Tom Gilbert, Val Holmes even got his done like before the end of the season. So they've just got more time to kind of, they're fitter sooner in terms of then being able to build their performance over the off season, which is always a good sign. So like someone like Nanai, I'm pretty low on because he's going to miss the first 3 to 4 weeks. And look, his game isn't huge on workload, don't get me wrong, but it's still not someone who you add in the Todd Payton factor. But yeah, he's just Payton's shown that he'll play him in Q Cup sometimes.
Yeah.
So he might come back after 3-4 weeks and play Q Cup. So Nanai's just someone
with Lukey being fully fit again. Like,
that's right.
Who knows?
That's right. So yeah, so for me, Nanai is a no-go. Tommy Gilbert, not I'm not chomping at the bit to get around Tommy Gilbert really, especially at the probably where you have to draft him. I just don't think that there's going to be maybe enough there. Last year, I just thought his mobility wasn't fantastic in terms of his lateral mobility, and especially if they chuck him out on an edge there. I don't see it. Who else? Val Holmes, not concerned about him. Garrick, not concerned about him. Olakawatu, maybe a little bit, but nothing too crazy. But the big names who I want to talk about are Toby Couchman and Tom Flegler. So I am really, really high on Couchman, I think, and especially with the changes today, with the tackle changes makes the big pigs a little bit more valuable. But I was already really high on him. If anybody who owns him remembers last year, he just battled with that shoulder.
Yeah, for sure.
But was still an absolute beast, as you say, like a fucking monster, but just I think it was 3 definite subluxations, but he was affected in game with it as well, where he'd get twisted up and he'd be a bit sore. And so performance would have been affected. So yeah, we'll talk about my buy of the year later, but he's definitely on in the list of guys who I'm really high on heading into the season from an injury perspective. And then Tom Flegler, I'm probably higher on him than a lot of people are. I think James on my pod, he's a bit hesitant, and then I listened to Guru on his pod, and those boys are a bit hesitant too. I think, there's every chance that he kind of gets eased back in, but I just don't think even if there is some form of easing back, it's not an injury where it's it's prevented him, like an ACL, where it's prevented him from doing a whole bunch of conditioning stuff, right? And he can only do certain things at certain times. Literally the only thing he hasn't been able to do for 12 months is whack
contact.
Yeah, and he's been able to do modified, wrestle and all that kind of stuff. Just hasn't been able to cop an absolute whack on the shoulder, right? And so I'm not a professional footy player, but I don't think it takes long to get that back into you necessarily.
Yeah. That's DNA stuff, that is.
Yeah. Tom, Flegler is an absolute monster. So for me, I just think if he falls late in drafts, and as you boys always say, and I'm a big believer in this, I draft because I know I'm going to make the finals.
100%.
I am drafting because I'm counting on myself to make the finals. And if I can pick a Tom Flegler up in the late rounds And by, mid to late year, he is back to pumping out like a 55 to 60 average, which he was, before he got injured. And I picked him up, at the very, very back end of the draft. I'm just absolutely laughing, which is what I am hoping for from him. So they're probably the two who I really look at and I'm really eyeing off is like I would be. I mean, I haven't looked at pre-draft rankings, sorry boys. So, but wherever you guys would have Toby Couchman at the moment, I'd probably have him half a round like above wherever he's going at the moment because I'm higher on him.
So we've got him as our 6th best front row forward.
Okay.
So we've actually got him ahead of Carrigan, Lindsay Smith, Naff White. Like we're big on him. Big.
So you guys are sweet. Okay.
We're all over him.
Yeah, I owned him last year, so I had the first row seat like yourself looking at him, and like you said, like come back from injury with one arm hanging around his fucking hip and playing 80 minutes on the edge and still pumping out like 70 points.
Yeah, correct.
Most of it in base. So what's Superman going to do when he doesn't have kryptonite in his pocket?
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to be a part of it.
The re-injury risk is very low for these surgeries too. Like it's under 5%. So yeah, look, like all aboard Toby Couchman, to be honest.
Yeah, fuck, he's sexy.
I'm all about it.
Holy hell. All right. Keen. And so just with those shoulder recos, when you're comparing the backs and forwards, are you more sort of worried about forwards coming back from because of
definitely. Yeah, just because they have to get back into it a little bit more. It's like the endurance factor, of playing big minutes in the middle and making bigger tackles. Like, as I said, like a guy like Olakawatu or Jeremiah Nanai, because they're not big, tacklers anyway.
Base guys, yeah,
that's right. So it's I should probably change it and say it's more for those base middles, like those base middles that I get more concerned with. So like your Griffin Neem, for example, I'm not really interested. Dan Saifidi, that's a reason where Tom Gilbert, I'm not overly fussed. Those kind of guys who are, pigs in the middle. And the only reason I'm higher on Toby Couchman is not like I think he's going to get better as the year goes on. So I don't think he'll be peak to start, but I just think he's going to be even better than last year. It's just going to be that potential to be even better. So
Dragons also lost a truckload of middles. So it's honestly the planets are aligning for Toby. Holy moly. I just wanted to sort of touch on that because Val Holmes is definitely going to be talked about more and more, especially after today with the rule changes and the try assist probably coming more from your centers now with that last touch. Val Holmes is definitely going to be rocketing up our ranks for sure. So you're good with him?
Love it. Yeah, I've never been a massive Val Holmes guy. I don't know for whatever reason. But yeah, I wouldn't shy away from him, and especially with the changes today, I'm all aboard with pretty much all centers, to be honest.
Yep, 100%. All right, let's get into the ribs back pec area. We've obviously got Campbell Graham with the back. We had Dave Fafita with a rib injury in the preseason as well. I guess we can cover David Fafita with his ankle at the same time. Obviously, he had all that issues with his ankle last season. Who do you want to talk about here?
Yeah, so Campbell Graham interests me a lot. There hasn't been a lot said. Apparently, he was sitting out. He was in the rehab group earlier this preseason. So I don't know if that was still the back, whether they were kind of getting him back from that. I just think hopefully we get a bit more information or he looks pretty good in trials, because the thing that I found really interesting about him is doing my research this week. So before... that year, I think it was 2023 when he was top 5 in CTW ranks or pretty close to. He averaged 43.5 in base plus power. And last year he averaged 44 in base plus power. He just had zero attacking stats.
Yeah, saw no ball.
Just
zero
nothing,
ball.
Right? So I'm like, if South can improve even slightly, I just think he's a great bounce back candidate, because I don't think he was that physically affected last year. I really don't, because like he was still taking runs, he was still making tackles. South just had no attack. Like they just, especially through the centres. So yeah, I like him. I probably want a bit more information on his injury, or at least see some good signs from him in trials first, though, which is hard for drafters. But I don't mind like going him as like maybe your CTW 3. As like someone with a bit of upside there. So that would be my take on him. And Dave Feeder with the rib, not really concerned. The foot is something where, I mean, James and I are calling it Ozempic off season. Like the boys are trimming up at the moment, and Fafita looks like an absolute fiend. Spoiler alert, like I know there's quite a few obvious picks you could go for injury by the year. It's not Dave Fafita for me, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, the uncertainty around his ankle injury. The role, but we never got clarification on what the fuck was going on with his ankle. He had 3 surgeries on it. And like who's to say that's going to hold up for 27 weeks in a season? We don't even know what it was. It took, like, Gold Coast obviously washed their hands of it, and they were like, well, you're cooked. Like, we're not having you. And boys, like, I know I always say that injuries can be bad luck and blah, 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 but Souths have had such a horrible run with injury. I'm like, there has to be something to that. They have wound over their
strength and conditioning
coach.
So
they wound over it for the 3rd time in 3 years. They've gone through it again. So it's just like, maybe it's Wayne's approach. Like he's the one. Like I don't know. I think in like a classic setup, I don't think you can go past him, right? Because like he's just too cheap. Yeah. So you just have to get on board, and you only have to spend one trade to get him out. But if there's people out there who are like, yep, he's the Dave Fafita of old, I'm going to pick him at the back end of round 2, that's just not for me. Like, back around round 2, early round 3, like, I'm happy to let someone else take that risk. And if he pops off, like, fair enough. Like, well done. But I just think in that range, there's a lot of other guys who I'd like a lot better, who I'm a bit... Like, I would massively toss up Toby Couchman and Dave Fafita, to be honest. Like, that would be for me, because I just think Toby's going to go off and be quite consistent, and I know what I'm going to get. Whereas Dave Fafita is just the ultimate, coin flip.
It's the rocks or diamonds approach, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. The thing with Dave Fafita, and he's so hard to rank, right? He's so hard to rank within 2RFs, but also with your top 30, top 50s, things like that, because it's like, we know what he's capable of. We know what will happen if he gets an 80-minute role on that left edge with Latrell sucking all defenders in, him running at smaller defenders. I mean, honestly, the upside here is that he's an 85 averaging 2RF. But then, like you say, there's a lot of question marks about, well, what the fuck's going on with that ankle? Is he going to play 80 minutes? Is he going to play on the left edge? Is he going to rotate through the middle? All these things. So it's like, where the fuck do you rank him? And you cannot get it right, because you rank him too low. People are like, well, you've got David Fafita fucking pretty low. And then you all of a sudden you pump him up and you're like, well, aren't you afraid about David Fafita not playing 80 minutes? It's like, guys, we're trying over here.
Yeah, it's just someone else's problem this year for me. That's the way I'm approaching it, is I'm just going, look, someone else can ride that wave.
Yeah, I've literally said those exact words already this season. I had him last year.
I was going to say, the reason why you said that is because you had him last year.
I didn't even have him last season, so I'm just going
I had him 2 seasons ago, and he's not my problem this year either.
Yeah.
Campbell Graham's really interesting, because I remember seeing him last year and being excited about the 45 to 50 in pure base that he was getting out there on the right edge. And I was like, well, he only needs one attacking stat to get a 60, 65 there. But then I worry about, okay, we know how left dominant this Bunnies team is going to be. Is it going to continue that? But on the flip side of that coin, we've also talked about Latrell. Is he going to have a bit of a Turbo role when Turbo had the 4 in his back, where he plays both sides of the ruck when they're attacking inside the 20? And if that's the case, then you're like, all right, we're fucking back on Campbell Graham. Because I think 100%. that was a bit of what was happening there when Campbell Graham was averaging 65, 70, is Latrell was using that right edge a lot.
Yeah,
So
100%.
again, and where he's going to slip in drafts makes him very intriguing.
I totally agree. Yep, love it.
So that's good. All right, let's get into the groin hip area. And this is a huge fucking talking point here. It's Jacob Carraz. Is it the knee? Is it the hip? Is it the back? We don't know. All we know is we want him, get him up here. We all want to buff him. We all want to draft him. We all want to have him on our classic teams. We need to know what's doing. Gus, give us the insight. Brian, give us the insight. We need to know. Carraz, can he get 70 offloads again in 2026? I mean, he's a beast. We want him.
Boys, I don't know what's going on here. So he's had the ongoing hip that Gus said before last off season was something he'd have to manage for the rest of his career. Which probably means he's got some like osteoarthritic changes, just like some degeneration in the joint, those kind of things, which is something that NRL players play. Like Teddy's knee had osteoarthritic changes for 8 years now, and he's still doing what he's doing. So
he's been killing it.
Yeah, that's right. So it's not a massive deal, but there's just so little info. I noted that he was wearing pretty heavy shoulder strapping over the off season so far. So potentially a shoulder as well. Like we just don't know. So I'm still huge on it. Like we need more information to kind of try and figure out what's going on there, because it's just like it's one of those things. I said to someone the other day, like, there would be so many of these situations that we never find out about because their head of football doesn't tweet. You know what I mean? Like we're just lucky. We're just lucky that Gus tweets and we find out about, Kiraz is in the rehab group, because I'm sure there are blokes in rehab groups across the comp
for sure
that we just never find out about, because we don't have some guy who's just sitting there on a toilet taking photos and then tweeting, later on, which is what Gus does. So and fair
like
fucks
my
to,
typical day.
I love it. I love it that he does it. But while we're here, boys, I was going to ask you later, but I've got a very interesting question for you. I don't mean to sidetrack us, but I'm going to fucking do it anyway.
Hit us.
Do it.
I don't know. Every year I ask you about. I've got a dynasty draft where I get to keep 3 players every year. So I'm in every year it's tough because I've just got so many fucking good players, boys, like as you could expect, like just so many. It's like, who do I choose from? But I genuinely have a pickle this year. So I've got Kiraz, I've got KP, Ponga, I've got Latrell, and I've got Tino. How do you pick 3 from that group? Like, where would you boys sit on that group? Because before the Kiraz hit or whatever this thing was, I had locked in Ponga and Kiraz, and then I was 50-50 on Latrell and Tino. Today's news pumps up Latrell because he's playing center, but it also pumps up Tino because the middle forwards get a few more tackles. And
for me, Tino is the first one.
You're in.
I feel like he's like the base that he's going to be achieving is like he got a 75 average without his injury affected games last season. So you're possibly getting that up towards an 80, and that's elite areas. So for me,
I'm off Tino. Fuck Tino. He didn't sign with the Bears. Fuck Tino.
So who are you dropping out of that 4 then, Wook? Who are you not going
just
with?
the role for Ponga. Like he loses the goal kicking. That's a 10-point swing. I just yes, he could get back to his best that we know that he can do with the Maroons, but it's a big risk. Like the heights that Latrell can get is outrageous. Like the 2 no-brainers for me are Tino and Kiraz. And then, you kind of have to pick your story after that.
All right, Natty, what do you got for me, mate?
Latrell to the moon, baby, straight up. He's number 1.
Who are you dropping out of the 4?
I think KP as well.
Yeah, right.
And there's 2 reasons, because it doesn't matter what happens, he's going to be affected this year straight up. So you've got Sandon Smith comes in, likely to take the goal kicking, which is a huge drop in his average. And this foot injury, I mean, we'll talk about him soon, but that worries me. Like turning up with moon boots every other fucking week. And then just say Sandon Smith doesn't make the team and Fletcher Sharp plays in the half, there is a distinct effect that Fletcher Sharp has on KP's average. And Wook and I talked about this a lot last season. Now, KP's a very good support player, and Fletcher Sharp stole all of that from him last year,
Sharp
playing through the middle in the halves.
support player.
He's just quicker, Johnny on the spot, and all those support plays that KP was getting beforehand, he wasn't getting when Fletcher Sharp was there. And I feel like all those opportunistic tries and try assists were going to Fletcher Sharp and not KP. So those two reasons are why I'm low on him this year in draft and why I'd probably drop him out of your dynasty as well.
Okay, I like it. You boys might have convinced me.
That's what we're here for, baby.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's it.
we've only been talking about this for 3 months.
Yeah, Jesus. You boys didn't know I'd be in big trouble.
You'd want to hope we'd have an answer to your question. Jesus.
But I'd like to point it out that like I'm in this pickle because of how good, like amazingly good I am. Yeah,
It's a great decision to have to make.
I came sixth in the league because I had to carry Ponga and Latrell all last year while they were injured. So what can you do? But I'm still amazing.
I'm a real sucker for Latrell, though.
Cut that up.
And Wooker will tell you, I'd have to get news that Latrell's been in a car accident and he's been decapitated for me to not draft him.
What about if he suffered another calf injury?
Like I said, he'd have to have his head missing from his fucking body for me not to draft him. I just love him. I just want him in my team. I owned him one season. And it was the biggest heart attack, but the funnest ride I've ever had. It was just the best.
Oh,
I do look like you're preaching to the choir. I love Latrell. I really do. So you're not gonna have to twist my arm. Sorry, boys. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent.
Oh, I love it.
No, wait, please, tangents. That's what we do. I mean, you can't. There's one bloke you can't out tangent, and that's Wooker.
Yeah,
I'll let you know if you beat him. And you won't.
No, you've got no chance.
Right, let's move into the upper leg, quad hammy, that sort of area here. We've got Jake Little hammy, Herbie Farnworth, obviously I don't want to relive that, but hammy, and Christian Tuapolatu with the 18 hamstring injuries that he had.
Yeah, I don't love Tuapolatu.
I know, surely. Can he get another one? Is there a record for hamstring injuries over a 2-year period?
Well, I think there's a record in 12 months. I think Bradman Best the year before was 4 or 5 in a year. Wow. So I don't think. I think Tuapolatu went close. That's actually 3, interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting comparison. I might have to look that up. But
you're welcome.
Just not once again someone else's problem. Like he's got a high average. He's going to be right up there on draft boards. So yeah, just not for me. Especially with those two young fellas getting all the like off season. I think it's Fail and Setu too.
Hype, heaps of hype.
So they're getting a lot of hype. So yeah, no for me on Tuapolatu, just the re-injury risk. Farnworth had the hammy. He had his hammy. Well, apparently had his hammy iced the other day at like a Dolphins after training or something. But like once again, I mean, I spoke to a few people around the Dolphins and they're like, mate, like if you got fired up about every person who iced things after trainings and stuff. So I was like, yep, fair enough. So yeah, look, not overly fussed on a one-off hamstring injury for Herbie. I think especially with the changes today, it just pushes him further up my draft board. I was pretty high on him already because I hope and that the Finns are going to be better this year. A bit more of a forward platform to build off. So like Herbie, Jacob Little, he's going to be touch and go. He's got Damien Cook. He's just a non-factor for me.
Now, with Herbie, is there a difference between obviously the mechanism on how they do their hammy? Obviously, Herbie, when he did his hammy, he was sprinting, like it was at top pace. Does that make a difference in the severity and recovery with guys that usually obviously have to rely on their speed and elusiveness?
Yeah, I'm definitely more worried about hammies in guys who rely heavily on speed. So a guy like Herbie definitely qualifies, like him versus like a Matt Lodge for hamstring injuries. I don't know why I picked Matt Lodge, but I just went for the biggest potato in the comp, and he was who came to mind.
Have you seen him in open space, mate? He might be he might be a flyer.
Yeah. But like I'm more concerned about Herbie and the fact that when they do it sprinting, it just lowers the chance that it's like a minor strain. It's usually going to be
Yeah.
like a partial tear or something like that. But yeah, like once again, I mean, he's had the whole off season. It's only one hamstring injury. The difference between him and Tuipulotu is just that every time you suffer that hamstring injury, it just adds more scar tissue. The nerves are a bit more affected, those kind of things. Yeah, I'm not too stressed on Herbie. I'd happy to take the risk with his upside.
So it's
Yeah,
kind
and
of like successive head knocks sort of thing.
Yes,
They do kind of add up if you have them in.
Yeah, you glass jaw start or your glass hammy starts to,
Actually, that's kind of what I was getting to. Yeah.
probably the silver lining for Herbie, at least, that the Dolphins didn't make a run into the finals, because they were whispering that if they did make the finals, that he might have been ready to go.
Yeah, it's 100%, which could have, there was a lot of rushings back last season for not much purpose, I think. So I'm glad that wasn't Herbie as well.
Good. Herbie, tick, tick, tick. Love that. All right, let's get into the knee. We've broken the knee up into knee, which was like meniscus and MCLs and all that. And then we'll talk about ACLs because there's a few of them. So Tino, Motalangi, Hammer, JMK, obviously with his meniscus, and Brendan Piakura with his meniscus as well. Talk to me.
I'll get through the straightforward one. So Brendan Piakura, nothing much there, to be honest. He's pushing for round one. Not really. God help you if you're taking a punt on a
He's not super
Broncos second rower. Yeah. JMK, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about. Like, he won't be back till round 6 or 7, and then like a meniscus kind of repair surgery is pretty it's a pretty significant one. So I'm not expecting him to come back and play mega minutes, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I'd expect them to kind of ease him back in, especially because they got Kurt Donahue, who is, happy to play big minutes in the middle, that kind of thing. Hammer had the MCL, no concerns there. Talangi was an MCL as well, no concerns there. Big one's Tino, boys. So he's had the knee issue in the off season, had like a cleanup surgery was how they said it.
Yeah.
Look,
So the same as the ACL knee?
Yep, same one.
Yep.
So for me, it's not really a short-term concern. It's more a long-term, and to be honest with you, the cynic,
the dynasty conversation.
But also the dynasty is interesting. But the cynic in me, and once again, we love our conspiracy theories on the Magic Sponge. I was actually very shocked to see him re-sign or like take up his options at the Titans, because I thought the Bears had offer him $1 bazillion, or Melbourne.
I think we did.
Him. Yeah, that's what I mean. And I'm like, oh, did they pull out because his knee's not all that good in the long term? Like, what's the go here? Maybe Josh Hannay sold him the magic juice. I don't know. But for me, I'm not he's back doing everything at training already. I'm just huge on him. I think the Titans, after the Titans lost, what's his name?
Jamin Jolliffe.
Yeah, Jamin Jolliffe. They just have no one. They're talking about
they lost
Chris Randall
mid last season.
Yeah, talking about playing Chris Randall in the middle, Cleese Haas in the middle. I'm like, mate, Tino is not coming off that field. Like, if he is, it's 5 minutes.
They're regretting letting Aaron Clark go, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%.
And the big thing here, boys, is there's reports that Randall is exclusively training at 13, which pushes Tino into the front row forward. And hello, Jewel, boys.
Yeah, sign me up.
Hello, Jewel.
He's got to be pumped up close to that term pick round, just after round 1.
Yeah. Now, it is his second season back from an ACL, which, as you boys have known in the past, I've been pretty high on guys coming back second season from the ACL. I will say that the rule probably doesn't apply to him as much, and the reason I say that is because he was that fucking good last year. And the example I used at the time, because as you boys know, I was really high on Tino heading into the season last year, is I made the excuse that there seems to be this select few, the throbbers of the NRL world, who can kind of come back first season back and be absolute worldies. And the person who I use the example of was Pat Carrigan, right? So Pat Carrigan came back from his ACL, absolute worldie. His second season back, he was just as good, but he didn't see that usual jump that a lot of guys do in their second season back because he was just so fucking good in that first season back. So I'm not expecting a massive physical jump from Tino. I think why I'm so high on Tino now is as soon as Jamin Jolliffe went down, I'm just like, he's just not coming off the field. Like and now he signed this big long-term deal. Like he's, going to be the forward leader, all that kind of stuff. I think he'll be massive.
Yeah, Hane's got no real options, does he? He's got to play both Mofo and Tino for big minutes.
Big time.
Yeah. Jeez. As soon as I got word of Randall playing 13, I was like, oh, and playing Tino in your front row forward. Yep. Thanks for coming. Thank you. All right. ACLs. So Billy Walters, Tom Chester, Hillen Lukey, Jack Bostock, Max Plath, Dylan Egan, Ryan Couchman, Cam McInnes, Ronaldo Mulitalo, Luke Metcalf, Mitch Barnett, and then obviously the most recent one, Jamin Jolliffe, just talked about him. Gone.
It's a long list, isn't it?
A few ACLs getting about. What are we doing here?
It's all happening. Jamin Jolliffe obviously wiped. Ronaldo Mulitalo, another one, just off the board. No thanks. Ryan Couchman, also undraftable. I wouldn't even go like a Jack Bostock. I don't think he's draftable either. Billy Walters, also not draftable. Like even Dylan Egan, I would argue, not really draftable. He's a young fella. They're gonna take their time with him and make sure they ease him back. So I wouldn't be looking at him as like an option. Mitch Barnett, I think, fits into the theory of throbbers coming back from ACLs. I think he can come back pretty well. The only thing with him is that he's pushing to return for round one, which is always like your likes of Tino and Pat Carrigan when they had theirs. They had theirs, and then they had the off season. Like they were fit by the start of the off season, and they kind of had the whole off season to rehab and get their performance back. Whereas with Barnett, there's just that, well, he's coming back right on that 9 months kind of for round one, which is always a bit tougher. The Wars have got a pretty stacked middle, or just really stacked forwards. So it's a bit along the, if you're going to make the argument, Tom Flegler won't have to play many minutes in the Finns because there's a lot of forwards. I think there's just so many forwards at the Wars that I just don't see they need to lean on Mitch Barnett too heavily early on. At the Wars also Lukey Metcalf. Like his game is just so ACL heavy, right? Like it's just so ACL heavy. He's going to be back around 7 or 8.
Do you think the ACL return's going to detract from him taking up the goal kicking as well?
It doesn't usually, but I think he's coming back and would replace the goal kicker, right? As in he would come in for Tanner Boyd.
Yep.
I don't know who there. Would it be just RTS kick? I don't know.
CHG kicks.
Oh, CHG, of course.
Not well. But,
yes, correct. Yeah, so I don't think it would usually affect it if
and Pompey kicks as well.
Pompey,
yeah. So potentially, but look, boys, if you're fit to play, you're fit to kick with ACL.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not really a big thing for me. But yeah, he's still not someone who I expect to come back and be at his explosive best.
Yeah.
I do know throbbers throb, but that rule has been pretty exclusive
forwards.
your forwards. Yeah. I have not seen a Pat Carrigan return from an ACL from a half or an outside back. Just haven't seen it. So Metcalf could be the first, but I'm also not going to bet. I'm not going to bet my 4th or 5th round pick on him being the first. So I'm happy to let somebody else take him. Once again, he's got a high average, so he's going to be up on draft boards, and someone will just take him, and I'm fine with that. Who else we got? Cam McInnes. He was on radio before Christmas and said he could be pushing for round 1. But then Craig Fitzgibbon came out this week and said it's more likely to be round 6 to 10.
Yeah. Who are we asking here? Are we asking the professionals or Cam McInnes? I'm pretty sure Cam McInnes thought he was good to go the next day.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
He
there's
was
the
out,
thing.
he was out mowing the lawn, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the story that he was out mowing the lawn. But yeah, look, like I just don't think his game is very ACL dependent at all. So I just think, yeah, when he comes back, you're going to get what you get with Cam McInnes. I think what you see is what you get. So if you can get him at value, I don't mind it. If you can back yourself to kind of get through the first 6 to 10 rounds with him sitting on your bench, but he's not really someone who I'd want sitting on the bench anyway. I think he's kind of free agent for like on that free agent line anyway most of the time. So I'm not super high on him. Who else have we got? Jack Bostock, no. Max Plath, I just don't see the role being there for him as like a big minute guy. Tom Chester was a minor MCL off the back of the ACL, so I don't mind him. I think like he's had the whole off season because he did his ACL like December 24. Yeah. So he'll kind of be like 15, 16 months post-injury when he returns. So not really concerned. The guy who I'm really high on is Harlem
You've
Lukey.
been dancing around him, and, mate, I've been eager to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, Harlem Lukey we both love. The literally the only thing that would stop James from like heaving down his throat to be by the year would be we saw a report the other day that Todd Payton was starting in their scrimmages Sam McIntyre on one edge and John Bateman on the other.
What?
And this was the blow up that we had on the pod about like Payton's. If that happens,
he needs to be out.
Just get it. Like if you have a
he should
Harlem
never be in
Lukey
charge
and
of a
he's
fucking
not,
football team again,
and he's not playing minutes on an edge when you don't have Jeremiah Nanai there, and you've got the corpse of John Bateman running around and Sam McIntyre, who's a solid middle, but it like is not. Yeah. So the only thing from our eyes that will keep Harlem Lukey from reaching his potential this season is the coaching at
Toddy boy.
So I'm very confident in his performance, but not in the Cowboys.
Fuck, he knows how to ruin a fucking Supercoach player, doesn't he? Toddy Payton.
So it's just devastating to us because James is like, we've got the run sheet ready for Frost and Fades.
Yeah.
It's just, he's written up this massive paragraph on Harlem Lukey, like he's just so fucking high on him. And then I just sent him the screenshot of this thing. And he was like, and he already hates Todd Payton. So he was just into him. It was so good.
Oh, no.
Oh boy. See, I'm high on him, but I just don't know.
Trepidatious
is the word there.
Trepidatious, isn't it though?
Is it the first trepidatious of the
It is.
preseason?
Haven't even said it this season.
Got to bring it back. All right, let's get into the lower leg, so calf, ankle, foot. Dylan Lucas with his foot, KP his foot, and then obviously Tinella Paseka returning from his Achilles as well.
Big on Paseka, as we spoke about earlier. I think like he's had the whole off season. They were talking about returning him at the end of last year, which would have been a 5-month return, which is pretty much the earliest you can see guys return. But thankfully, they just played it smart. They're like, "Yep, sweet, we'll get you back for next year." So I'm once again not expecting a career year from him, but where you can get him, oh man, if I can lock him in as my second front rower, I've been
doing a lot of mocks and like I'm getting him on my bench.
No one's touching him.
I'm getting him on my bench.
Touching him.
It's outrageous.
Yeah. Yep. So him and Flegler are like my ideal second front rowers as guys who, and on top of that, if someone reaches for him and those two guys start a little bit slow, like maybe they put out a 45 or something like that in the first 2 weeks, either on waivers or just trade for them. Like they are such good trade targets from a draft perspective. So all about Paseka as well. I think,
I love that.
He's great value. Dylan Lucas with his foot, I'm not overly concerned. I think he'll be fine. He's had plenty of time. There's been no reports of difficulty during rehab, which leads us to our next guy, which is Callum Ponga. So very, very interesting from a physio standpoint, to be honest, a sports like medicine standpoint, because there's footage of him winning Broncos, like the Bronco Fitness Challenge in the first week.
He was killing it this season.
Had the shirt rolled up, the abs out.
Yeah,
he
was killing it, and then 2 weeks after that, he's back into Moonbird again. Now, like, you know, the reports were it's just bone bruising. It's definitely not a fracture. But you know, we had things like Mitch Moses, for example. You know, last year where he'd had the foot surgery on the fifth metatarsal, which is one of the bones in there, and then initially it was just bone bruising, and then it was, you know, and it's just all these kind of things. So it's just something for me where, like, in draft, I said the only reason I'd consider keeping him in Dynasty is holding on to that, like I've got I could hold him for 5 more years because he potentially could be a top 3 pick at some point if all the stars align, right? Well, the reason I'm making that point is because people have just heard me talk about how I'm thinking about holding him over these other guys in a dynasty league. But if you're doing redraft, like, once again, someone else's problem this year for me. I just look at all the reasons that you boys said, and I'm like, look, I just it doesn't overly interest me. If he comes back and the Knights are rejuvenated and he absolutely kills it, fair fucks to you, like, well done. But for me, the only reason I'm considering holding him in that Dynasty league is because Dynasty is you hold the same guys year in and year out. And I'm like, could I have a top 3 to 5 pick in KP? But from a perspective of just this year, it's just not something I want to dance with.
A fair play.
Yeah, that's just confirming my thoughts on KP moving into the 2026 season.
Like, if he dropped ridiculously, like if it was in like the mid 3rd round or late 3rd round or something, and I'd somehow gone like halfback, you know, front rower or something in the first 2 rounds, and then I was looking at, like, you know, Hammer goes and somehow KP's still there, sure. Then I'd absolutely consider him. But I don't see him getting out of the 2nd round, boys. I don't know whether any of your mocks where he's gone, but yeah, it's just in that 2nd round range. It's not for me.
Typically 2nd round, some fucking wild ones 1st round.
But yeah,
no way. All right. Before we're going to get into the big dogs, we're going to reiterate some of those big name players, and I'm going to put it on you, Brian. I'm going to ask you where you would draft them. But before we get into that, is there anyone that we've missed or anyone you want to touch on?
There is, yeah. One guy who I'm big on, who I think and I'll say this from like a physical standpoint, that I don't think enough people are considering, and it's because he's a guy who was just so good otherwise, is Reece Walsh.
I thought you were going to talk about Jackie Howarth.
Yes, no, well, him too. Yeah, he's a good one. Like, he got absolutely cooked last year, so I think he's going to be great. But yeah, I just think the end of last year, Reece Walsh just went so amazingly that people are writing off that he played like half to 3/4 of the year with an absolutely busted knee. He did that PCL, and he was so affected by it. He was so affected by it, and so people are going, "Oh, can this continue?" Like, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, what you do need to consider is that teams were handling him in part in the early part of the season because he was on one leg. Like, he's copping knocks in the warm up, limping, and you're going, is he even going to play? And then he'd go out there. Like, so yeah, so I think that's something that's being overlooked when people are analysing Reece Walsh, is that he was
We've
playing
overlooked
on one
it
leg.
for sure.
Yeah. So I do. I'm really high on him. Like, he's a bona fide. Well, I mean, sorry, I haven't looked how his scores are affected after the changes today. So I'm just commenting on what he was beforehand. So I don't know that far, but let's say in an imaginary world, we're still on the old scoring system. He was a bona fide top 3 pick for me, just lock and load. Like, I would take him over Teddy. Was my hot take, because with Walsh, my thing is you're not only betting on Walsh being healthier this year with his knee, but you're also betting against Adam Reynolds playing the entire year, which I am taking that bet every day of the week, right? So you're betting on Adam Reynolds getting some sort of something, you know, and missing 3 weeks here or 6 weeks here or whatever, which I'm happy to take that bet. And I'm also happy to take a bet on the biggest throbber in the entire comp. So I'm really high on Walsh. He was one of the first people I locked into my classic side.
So with that injury, that PCL injury, can you just sort of dive into sort of how he's able to recover from that injury over the off season and moving into 2026? Because obviously, like, he was getting knocks,
Yes.
and that was causing him a lot of pain, not a lot of damage, but like, obviously he was in pain. So can you just explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so effectively the PCL tears completely. It runs alongside the ACL, and the ACL, I mean, this is a topic for another night, but yeah, there is some evidence the ACL can heal now, but no NRL player has kind of risked that because it's a bit dicier. But the PCL can heal, but it heals with like pretty heavy scar tissue, and effectively scar tissue, when you stress scar tissue, it's quite painful. It's not tissue that sits perfectly aligned. It doesn't pull nice and comfortably. It kind of is all jagged and crossed, and when you pull on it, it hurts, right? And so especially when you kind of got this scar tissue forming back over, and then you cop a knock to it, or you do something, and it's just super painful as it's healing. The thing is, it would have healed really well over the off season, right? Given it that time to heal. The other component is that you do get a little bit of instability. He's now had the whole off season to build up the stability in that knee, so he's got like a decreased, risk of aggravation. He's got an increased risk of having an increased chance of having more stability in his knee, so can change direction quicker, can jump off the mark faster, all these kind of things, which we saw towards the end of the season last year anyway, right? We're already seeing that. But more, I'm saying from a physical standpoint, I love the platform that's set up for him this year. I really do.
Yes. Okay, so obviously now that the scar tissue's healed, like if he got a knock to that knee, let's say in round 1, it wouldn't be painful.
Like his threshold would still be lower than usual. Okay. So like, let's say usually it would take a 100-kilo knock to aggravate, Katoni Staggs' knee, because Katoni Staggs has a, healthy knee. Or even if we go to Reece Walsh directly, it takes 100 kilos to aggravate his other knee.
Yeah.
His PCL knee, it's probably like 80 kilos. So there's probably like a bit of a drop. But the argument is that last year at times it was like 15 kilos.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Like it just took nothing. As I said, he was doing it in the warm up. Like he would cop a knock and he would be like limping around all over the place. So it's just like the threshold is still a little bit lower. It's not zero. It is definitely like his risk of aggravation is definitely slightly increased. But what I'm comparing it to is last season, right? I'm comparing it to, look at how he performed last season with a knee that wasn't great. Imagine if he's got a knee that is or better this year. Obviously the form is probably going to drop a bit because he can't keep that up. But I
can't maintain
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that end of year, like worldy stuff, is balanced out by the early year, like my knees cooked stuff. And I think it falls somewhere on hopefully the higher side.
And what's interesting about Reece Walsh, and I don't know where I saw it, but someone was breaking down the mechanics of how he changes direction, like the torque he can get off his leg when his whole body is facing one way, but he's going, so his body's facing this way and the torque is going the opposite way. And someone was breaking down how the mechanics in his leg is working, and it was really interesting. And I'll butcher it if I try and fucking talk about it.
No, I'm loving it so far. Keep going, mate.
Yeah, but like what it is, he's just fucking changing direction on a dime, isn't he? To the layman.
Throbbers throb, mate. Throbbers. Yeah. He is the definition of throbbers throb. Like he is.
Well, because I had him as a little bit of a downturn because of his back end of the season. So interesting.
I totally agree with all the takes of like you probably can't keep that run going. But I love the outlook of like, okay, he had the bung knee, so that would bring his average down, and then I love the process of being like, well, I'm betting on Reece Walsh, who is
I love that call.
The funnest guy to bet on, and then I'm also betting against Adam Reynolds, which I think that is a good call. A safe.
I love
call
that
to make
call
as well. So
yeah. One of my calls with Reece Walsh and sort of having a little bit of a downturn in 2026 is defenses, like literally their whole video session being on him exclusively and just going, I don't care who else beats us in this game, it won't be him.
Yep.
We will not be embarrassed by this little cunt.
Yes.
Just fucking hit him and hit him early, and if he somehow gets an offload off and then Stags runs away, we'll fucking deal with that.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
100%.
I feel like that's going to be the whole for every team. Every team's just going to be like, we just saw what he did to every single team. He single-handedly fucked the Raiders. You know, he single-handedly fucked the Storm.
Yeah.
So I think defense.
I think it's going to be a real measure of like where he sits, because like you've had years like where JT was the only one at the Cows, right?
Yeah.
And he came out every year and still fucking killed it, right?
Well, this is the litmus test,
like
isn't it?
That's what I'm saying, right?
This
Like
year,
Jared
yeah.
Hayne was the only one at the Eels, and he just kept coming out every year, just absolutely lighting it up. So it's like, this is the test for Walsh, is like, right, you are now in that echelon of like, you are the center of attention. How do you handle that?
Yep. And if he does, and to take one of your calls, he's just going to be a worldie, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, is there, you talk about it being fun to own Latrell. Like, how fun would it be to own? Like, I had him in another dynasty league, and I was like, I snuck into the finals in 5th, only just, and mate, then he just went 120, 120, and I won the whole thing. And it's so good.
Look how he went with Reece Walsh last year.
I won my keeper league.
Well, he's a good one for you. In the home league, James had him, and he had him the first week of finals. He put up 130, and he lost. So he played the second week of finals. James lost by like 15 points or something.
He went out in straight
sets. But that was the week when you have a look at Reece Walsh's scores at the end of last year. It was like 120, 120, 120, 120, 120, and then like a 40. And the 40 was the week where James lost by such a small amount. And he's like, oh, you're joking. And he would have absolutely swept us for the rest of the comp. But he just, it was just bad luck.
Well, that's a similar story with Wooker. He just happened to come up against me when I had Turbo as my captain when he scored 180.
Oh,
Yeah.
Amazing.
Shut the gate. Big Turbo, baby.
I had a glimmer of hope when I had Leo Hopelai to get 160, but yeah, it was not great.
Yeah.
Who'd you captain?
Who? Wooker?
Walsh.
Yeah.
Walsh, yeah.
Walsh.
Yeah, right. So you had Walsh as captain scoring 100 and something, and Lehigh score 160. You still lost. That is just.
Yeah.
That's
I had.
Mind you, I did have our both favourite player, Dewey. He
would have scored a lot for you.
Well, no, he got knocked out.
No.
He was riding on the teacup ride.
Actually, boys, that's someone who I've forgotten about.
Yeah, we forgot about that.
How have we gotten all this way?
How have we? Honestly, how have we gotten here?
This is a disgrace.
Let's go. Adam Dewey. Boys, and you best believe that when I started doing Supercoach research, I went straight to Adam Dewey because in games last year when he played in the halves and he goal kicked, he averaged over 70 in the West Tigers. It was like 3 or 4 games. I'm like, that's a great sample size. I'm in. I'm back in, boys. I'm in. So, get around him.
Yeah, but if he goal kicks and plays halfback.
Oh, he'll be great.
And he's been slipping in most mocks as well. So I think he's super value. Super value.
Yeah, I'm scared, but I'm in.
Yeah.
And we talked about this in we've done so many podcasts already in the preseason, but we talked about the difference between him goal kicking and playing halfback to him not goal kicking and playing center is honestly like 25 points in average. So
it's so huge.
It's so scary. Like what happens there? Like you're like, fuck. It's almost like you don't draft him at all. And then like, okay, you draft him in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I think with May there now, surely he's not back to center. Like I think he's either in or he's just out.
Well, he'd be right.
Are we talking about the throat goat?
Nah, he'd be right center though, wouldn't he?
Oh, true. Yeah. Who's the other one? Starfatoa.
Starfatoa is good, but yeah.
Yeah, but he's not Adam Dewey good.
He's
what
not
we're
100%.
saying, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Look, I have to get on board. Boys.
Yeah.
I've been pushing back on it for far too long.
It was
Let's go.
legit the first thing I did when I started.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to get around my boy. So you better
Look,
believe
third
he's a
third
froth.
time's a charm. Three ACLs. He's going
It's
to
all
be
in the
killing it
past
from here.
now.
It's all up from here.
It's all in the past, baby. All right. I'm going to put you under the pump now, Brian. I'm going to give you some big dogs, and I want you to tell me where you would draft them. KP.
Yeah, I think like third round is probably where I'm at with him, which means I won't get him. But yeah, that's probably like I think around that hammer. Like I think I'd probably. Oh man, that's kind of the line for me. Like I might prefer hammer over KP.
Mid round 3, so pick 25.
Yeah, kind of in
there.
that range. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we've got him placed.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cool.
Yep. So we agree there. Latrell Mitchell.
Oh, fuck.
Pick 5.
Boys.
I'm surprised he stopped at 5.
I just can't believe he's done his calf again. And they're all like, oh, it's minor. Like, it's no big. I'm like, are you joking? Like, he had a minor calf issue in, like, the Origin camp, and he missed the rest of the season. Or basically, I'm just like, oh, far out. Oh, man. It's not first round, but
the potential's huge, but God, the detractions, like you say, are fucking massive.
What
about that calf? Like, I mean,
I'm legitimately concerned about, not only about him, because the knock is when it happens to Turbo, every time is like Turbo is the hardest worker. He smashes his rehab, and the knock on Latrell is always he doesn't rehab all that well, right? Like and that's a reason. Yeah. So I'm just always nervous. The one thing that does give me a bit of confidence is the fact that, look, he's moving to center. Does that mean he's got a, less track and back and
lower
less load? Yeah, potentially. Yeah. Even though, to be honest with you, the stats say that hammies in fullbacks or centers, wingers is pretty much the same. Like, look at Bradman Best. He's a center. Okay. He's done a bazillion hammies.
But what about calves, though?
Oh, same thing. Sorry, calves and hammies. Yes. Yeah, okay. You can put them pretty much on the same playing field. So I'm genuinely nervous. I'll put it this way: if I hadn't seen that he'd done another calf in the preseason, even though it was minor, I'd be like early 2, late 1. I'd be fine with it. Whoa. At the moment, I'm like probably late 2, early 3 is kind of where I'm at.
What about now we chuck in this new scoring system and he's going to
sorry. Yeah, I totally. Yeah, so you probably bump him up. Yeah.
And so he will literally probably have all of the bunnies.
Yeah. Sorry, but what I would say with all of this tonight, especially when I'm talking about where I draft them.
You haven't wrapped your head around it yet.
I have not wrapped my head around it. So boys, anyone listening, I'm talking on the old mindset. If we get clarification, just alter your expectations on that. But I would say obviously with the new scoring system, he goes up. He's probably in the early second now, but I'm still nervous as fuck about his calf.
The way I look at Latrell, right, is we sort of had him. How I pictured him was like mid to late round 2, and that's where I've been getting him in mock drafts. And then the calf happened, and you sort of go, okay, bump him back a little bit. But then this scoring system thing happens. You're like, well, now I have to fucking get him back into like sort of mid round 2. The thing with Latrell is he's a gut pick. That's all he is. If you are a Latrell guy like myself, you just back it in. You just go. If you enjoy having Latrell, you just go, fuck it. I'm going to ride the lightning. And I know what I'm getting myself into. I know what is possible here is he could have another 11-game season because he's had 2 of them now back to back. You know what you're getting yourself into.
So here's my take for you, right? My ideal start to drafts this year is Walsh into Latrell.
I don't hate that at all.
If I can get that
is fucking filthy.
Talking about riding the lightning.
If I can pull that off somehow, like get, I don't know what pick you'd need, like maybe probably pick 3 or 4
What do you
and
what
Walsh
do you call your
drops.
team? Just throb a lot?
Yeah, just,
Sir Throbalot.
oh,
The
Throb. I
Throb-a-lots?
just, yeah, it'd just be Throb. Because if anyone, please, anyone listening, if you are able to pull that off in your drafts,
You
just
just do it.
message me and let me know.
Screenshot it.
Yep.
Because
Screenshot it.
I want to
Yep.
see every Walsh into Latrell 1,
Brian
2.
will be into
That is
something. I'll tell-
just, yeah, I tell you
Rubbing his
what,
thumb
that
over it.
is,
And
that is some good stuff.
It's something that we talk about here on the Rub as well. So you can go through all the analytics and you can talk about the stats and the strength of schedule and all that bullshit, right? And it comes down to one thing sometimes, and it's like, is he a chub rub?
Oh,
Is he a guy that
100%.
gets you up and about? Is he a guy that you're like, Friday night, oh, I got Reece Walsh, let's go. Like it's going to make the game more enjoyable for you.
Yeah.
And you have to factor that in. Again, it's just a game, guys. And if it's going to make it more fun for you, and this is why I'm a big Latrell guy, because I love owning him. Like I really love owning him. So I might take him 4 or 5 picks ahead of someone else because I just fucking want him.
Controversial take. I've never, ever regretted drafting Tommy Turbo. Ever. Because I'm just like, when it comes off, it is the sweetest nectar. Like, and you're just like, how good's this? But I tell you what,
Did you own him 2021?
Like probably, I
Yeah.
can't. I probably, but you know what I mean. Like those kind of guys. I just, even if it doesn't come off, I'm just like, well, you know.
Turbo seems to just do it too. Like last year, he was pretty disappointing for most of the year.
Yeah.
He was
And
like a
then when
60 average until
when
he
I
hit his
needed him
straps.
the most, when I needed turbo to turbo
That
things,
That's what I
fucking
mean.
cunt.
he just went.
And how
fuck
good is
off,
it? Like,
balls.
how good is it? And I love drafting, like, you know, you draft a boring player who you think's going to average 60 and he averages 65 and you're like, oh, this is great. But I'm not like sitting down, like Toby Couchman, for example. I'm not sitting down to like, you know, really get involved in a Toby Couchman game. I'm sitting down at the end of the game going, oh, look at his base stats. How good's that? But I'm sitting down, strapping myself in. If I've got Turbo captained, I am eyes on that game so hard.
And
hard.
sometimes that decision happens in the last second. So for me last year, I had pick 1 in our draft. And I was sitting there and I'm going, Nathan Cleary, and I still hadn't made my mind up. And it was the Chubb Rub call. I was like, I just want to watch Turbo. I want to own Turbo and I want to have Turbo. That's going to be more exciting for me.
100%.
And honestly, that call, that Chubb Rub call of just backing my gut and just being like, forgetting the stats, forgetting all that shit and just backing my gut in, it won me the championship. Because if I had Nathan Cleary in the game that I played Wook, I would have lost.
Yeah, 100%. No, I'm a big proponent in, you know, I've just said that like I wouldn't touch KP and these kind of things, and it's probably because they're just not on the same level of some of the other guys where I love KP. Don't get me wrong, great Queenslander, but there's just some others who I froth even harder.
You just have your guys. My guys. Yeah, Adam Dewey, my guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you just have your dudes that you need to back in, that you need to take. And if it's going to increase your experience for Supercoach draft, you've got to factor that in. It's not, we're not playing for sheep stations here, guys. Enjoy the game. Have fun
100%.
with it. All right. So did we lock down a Latrell pick?
Sorry, I think early 2 with the changes today. With the changes today, I think,
I think we concur there as well. Dave Fafita, this is a hard one. And honestly,
he could end the season anywhere from
right.
he could end the season anywhere from 1st in average to 100th. Easily.
Yeah, like he's just I said I'd rather it be someone else's problem. I think like maybe I'd start to entertain it in like round 4, but like what second rowers you get? Like I'd rather like a Jacob Preston. Like I don't know where he's going, but
he'll probably
go round 3s, I reckon.
Yeah, so like maybe in round 4 you're kind of thinking about it.
But you might get him there, honestly.
And you might, potentially.
Heaps of people are off him.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. So sort of like, picks 33 to 38.
Yeah.
Sort of like that range. Okay, cool. We just talked about him, Turbo.
Oh boy.
And okay, so and also just to preface this, we're picking for the round 23 to round 26 grand final system as well.
You boys are going to have to input there because I haven't done.
He has the best strength of schedule.
Oh,
for
fantastic!
For fullbacks.
Yeah.
You preach to the choir.
Talk about throttles.
So the thing that I worry about with Turbo is A, Anthony Seibold, and B, DCE going. The thing that I love about Turbo, which once again is something that's only come in the last, however long, 48 hours, is we're back to the old, or not quite the old, but close to the old 6 again rules. Which is,
true.
We've extended from the 40 to the 20. So it means more 6 again, more fatigue. That was the year when Turbo averaged whatever he averaged, 140 or whatever it was. So for me, Turbo's early to mid first. I'm on Turbo. Like I think the top 6 or so picks for me are like Reece Walsh. Now, I say Cleary and Hines, but I don't know. I think some of the content I saw floating around today, halves are going to be in a bit of trouble with this new scoring thing.
And the depth at halfback is quite good.
Yeah. So I think I'm like a Reece Walsh, Teddy, Turbo, Payne Haas, and then probably the 2 halfbacks are kind of my top, whatever, how many that is, 5 or 6. Is kind of in there. So yeah, a Turbo anywhere in around there, depends how much you froth him versus the other guys. Like I like Teddy's great, but I'd rather own Turbo personally, even though
way more fun.
Like, and just that's my thing is like I don't exactly go, I'm real keen to watch Teddy, go around this weekend, but oh boy, if Turbo, like I'm just
the thing with Turbo, when he's on, right, and when he's drifting across that left edge and he's drawing players in and throwing cutout balls to Leahy or Pawadi, you're just like, it's unguardable. You are unstoppable right now, Turbo. And he does it, and you're watching it, and you're like, this cunt is gliding. It looks like he's playing under 6s. Like when he's at that point, he's when he scored that 180, and trust me, I was watching. He's
nude. I was nude watching
the things that happened after that 180
with a pile of used tissues around him.
Yeah.
But my wife is like, I'm about to leave you. What you're doing here? But he was God level.
Yeah,
he
and
couldn't
see
be touched.
That's like genuinely, if like the first 3 picks are like, Cleary, Hines, Walsh, even Haas, and then there's Teddy and Turbo sitting there, you can throw all the stats in the world at me about how Teddy's been the most consistent and he's always been up there and blah, blah. And I'm probably just going to draft Turbo anyway.
Yeah. And mate, at the end of last season, I told Wook and Guru, I was like, I'm not going to draft Turbo again. I've done it. It was a roller coaster. He did well for me. And literally last week I was like, pick 3.
I'm ready to be hurt again.
I'm in again. As soon as we broke down that strength of schedule, I was like, oh my God.
Here's a good one for you. So I think like just looking at the analytics of it, and I'm sure you boys would kind of be on board, is like I'm in like a few draft leagues where it's like, like sometimes I think we were all in a league together once where it was like all content creators. Like you're in all these like different leagues where I don't have as much emotion tied to it. Like I'd probably then draft like a Teddy. So I'm like, I'm happy to, but like in my home league, I'm just wanting all my heart picks. That's what I want hardcore. I just want all the guys who I like. So if Turbo goes off, I can feed all of my mates about like that. That is so much sweeter than like, a bunch of people who I don't really know all that much. I'm like, am I really going to send like a message in the group chat?
Yeah.
Whereas like if I pick Reece Walsh at pick 1 and he goes off in our home league, I'm feeding it to every single one.
Yep. Another thing that's another thing that needs to be taken into consideration. Like it's a weapon for banter.
I'm a huge banter. Like put up or down rankings.
Yeah.
If you think like, oh, I can really feed this in. It's like if you know one of your mates really likes someone and you like, and they're sitting right there, fucking pick it, like, you know, if it's half a round too early, just pick it and then rub it in his face for the whole rest of like, that's what it's about.
If
And I
you're,
mean,
pick,
our
if
league
you're
is
pick one
big on
and your
bets.
mate is a Manly fan, you're going Turbo every day
Oh,
of the
see,
week.
they're like that, and he's picked 2.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're just
Have
doing
to.
it. Yeah,
Have
100%.
to. And I mean, our league's big on bets. So, like, if you're betting cartons, betting bottles, whatever you're betting, if you've got a player like Reece Walsh, you've literally just got or Turbo, and in the right matchup, it's like, who wants it?
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
wants it?
Yeah.
Let's go. Line them up.
Come get it.
Okay. All right. Karaz is the last guy.
Yeah, I just draft him where I was going to draft him, which I think is like early to mid round 2. I'm not sure how the scoring affects wingers necessarily, these changes, but yeah, early to mid round 2 for me.
Yeah, I did. Obviously, we did a big analysis of the CTW, and this was before the scoring system came in. And when I was breaking down Herbie versus Karaz, I was getting very close to putting Karaz above Herbie, just because of when we broke down the offloads last year. I mean, it was like 3.6 a game, 70 over 17 games. Mental. Fucking
and he missed
mental.
that's another guy. Like, if we hadn't got this report of him being in the rehab group, I would just be sky high on him because he missed like the first 3 or 4 weeks of last season with this hip thing he was managing.
Yeah.
So by ipso facto, it means he was underdone leading into the season. So it means he started his scoring season last year, a bit like the Reece Walsh argument. Like, he started underdone. He wouldn't have been performing as well in that early part of the season. So, like, there's room for growth there for him if he's healthy, which we hope he is. But yeah, there's just a little bit of uncertainty there.
Yeah, I think we had him around that 12, 13 pick.
Yeah, nice. I like
He's
that.
definitely flirting around that turn pick.
But at one point, I was like, 9, 8. Like, I was getting very high on him. And then,
but also at one point you were saying, am I going to need to Isaiah above Herbie?
When did I say that? When did I say Mark
start,
winging it?
You had the eyes for
Semi.
You had the eyes for Semi, and you were going, I want to be drafting both.
You're making things up, bro. But with this news now, Herbie just. Oh. He's creeping, baby. He's like 8, 7, 6. He's moving.
I'd like to add a bit of fuel to that fire. Like, his strength of schedule in the finals as well is quite good, and even in Classic to start the season, he's got the second best strength of schedule from rounds 1 to 8. So, it's hard to pass up.
Let's find that money. Find that money, baby.
Exactly.
All right. So, before we get into your injury buy of the year, which is like obviously the pinnacle of this podcast, everyone's waiting on bated breath for that. As we do a little bit of it's maybe a recap of the whole podcast, who do you think presents the most injury value? So your injury booms coming out of what we've talked about.
Yeah, so I love Couchman and Flegler in the front row, and Paseka, to be honest. I think those guys, a bit more boring meat and potatoes, but love what they're putting together. One guy who I didn't mention, who I'll bring up, Sammy Walker. Like, it's his second season back from the ACL. He's probably the closest. Like I said, I haven't seen a half come back and do like a Paddy Carrigan.
He has to go into that category, doesn't he?
He was pretty close. So I think he can get even better. DC. So he's someone who I like. Like Hylam Lukey, if he can escape. Campbell Graham is another one. I love the Brandon Smith off the piss analogy, whether that's a self-inflicted injury, but I like that situation. And I'll leave the guy who is going to be my buy year for a second. But yeah, they're probably all my runners up
I like that. The big one for me is
that.
couch. Very keen on couch.
Big
Couch to the moon. All right. Who is like on the other side of the coin? Who's your trap due to injury? Like coming off maybe surgery, coming off an injury from last year, something like that. Where you're like, look, I think that's a trap.
Yeah, so I think like the biggest one for me who we didn't mention is Cam Murray. I just like he's in effectively the same situation as Paseka, but he's just such a high price. Like he's obviously a better player, but I just like I'm not expecting. I know he played one game at the end of last year, but I'm just not expecting like a career year from him. So I think I just see him creeping up, especially from a classic standpoint. He's quite highly owned. He's not someone who I'm really super keen on. The ACL guys like your Max Plath, we spoke about Luke Metcalf as well. And then the big one for me, which as I said, I'm betting a lot of my stuff on, is Adam Reynolds. Like I just think he's had so many issues that I think it's just starting to catch up with him, right?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, he's probably another one. And then like your Tui Pilotu, all the hammies, that kind of thing. So yeah, they're probably my ones, and I'm lower on Ponga and Fafita. Not necessarily like I think as I said, Fafita you just have to pick in classic. So it's not that I don't think they're going to present value from that perspective. But it's more like in draft, which we're talking about here. It's like where they're getting drafted. I'm probably just not as high.
Yeah, you don't want to spend what everyone's spending on Dave. All right, before we get into your injury buy of the year, we're trying to think about, because you've been very fucking good with this, your injury buy of the year. Last year was Tino, correct? Huge fucking tick. Was it Carraz the year before?
Yeah, so it flitted. I will clarify. So last year it was Campbell Graham. We recorded the podcast on the Sunday night. And then on Monday, Cam Murray tore his Achilles and Latrell tore his calf.
Yep.
And I just went, nah, like I'm retract because I was like, they're just like Souths are just going to be shot to shit. So then it was, and I was already sky high on Tino. So yes, it was Tino. The year before it was Kiraz and like Max King, but I went with Kiraz, but Max King was fantastic that year as well. So I was pretty happy with that. And 2023, I'm proud to say it was Adam Dewey, boys. I'm happy to go down with that ship because I think, if he didn't blow his ACL again, it would have been a fantastic year. So
I was just a little bit early.
You weren't wrong. You were early.
That's what we say. Never wrong, just early.
As James likes to say.
Never wrong, just early. I love that call. So
you're on a hat trick here.
Yes.
So if you get 2026 right, that's 3 in a row. All right, we're here. Injury by the year. Regale us.
Here we go. Now, I think a lot of classic people are going to say this is like a very easy pick, right? Because in my opinion, he should be owned in 100% of classic leagues. But I'm once again, like I'm a very heavy draft guy. So I just think from a draft perspective as well, it's Keanu Keeney. I just am sky high on him from and I know I think you boys absolutely froth him, but I think you'd be surprised at like around the traps, and we'll talk about it in froths and fades on Sunday night because we have Simon, one of the boys. He'll join us, and he's got a bit of a take on that. But yeah, I think there's some Keeney doubters heading into the season off the injury. In terms of, it is a major neck surgery. And the reason I probably like say he's injury by the year for me is because I'm kind of going against myself. Like if you go back, and I'm sure someone could cut up like James and I talking about it when it was announced, like how severe his neck surgery was, like, all these kind of things. We were like, oh, we're so off him. This is such a major surgery. Guys very rarely come back from this in the right headspace going into contact. It's just like all those kind of things. Boys, he has shown zero signs of that. And the main hesitation, because we've never seen this surgery has been done, multiple times, or like in the 20s times that I've tracked, and we've never had like an aggravation or a re-injury. Now, granted,
That's-
most of those surgeries happen later in guys' careers because it's usually something that builds up over time. So this is early, but once again, like it's more a longer term concern. It's like, where's Keanu Keeney going to be in 5-10 years time? Is his neck going to be all good? I'm very much not like, I'm not going to bet on him being the first one to suffer a re-injury from this. And he looked absolutely stupendous at the end of last season. So I am all in from a classic standpoint. I think he should just be 100% owned. And from a draft standpoint, I'm not against picking him in that late first, early second. Like I just think he's going to be fantastic. As I said, not really worried about re-injury risk. The main thing I was worried about was is the hesitation there, because you've got this major neck surgery, the hesitation going into contact, those little percentages, and it only has to be 2 or 3% of hesitation, and it's just not as good. But I mean, like Natty, you can talk to us about the stats from late last year, but yeah, like he just looked fantastic. I'm all in.
Yeah, mate, and like when we were doing the Just the Tip series in December, and I was looking at Keanu Keeney, and I was like, and without knowing much about the injury, I was like, look, I just want to see how he went in the Pac Champs. Like, was he involved? Like, exactly where was his mental space at coming back from that injury? And this just fucking changed my world, bro, reading these stats. So in the second Kiwis game, he played wing, and he had 1 try. He had the most run meters of the game, which is 199 meters. He had 23 runs, 2 line break assists, 3 tackle breaks, and 4 offloads. So like a 90 plus, 95 plus game there for Supercoach points. Then in the final for the Kiwis, he played fullback, this is the one we want to fucking talk about, baby. He had the most run meters again, 126 meters. He had 33 runs, 1 line break assist.
That's wild.
He had 8 tackle breaks, 4 offloads. That's like a 120, 130 point game there for Supercoach. And as soon as I read that, I was like, he's invincible. Like, he thinks he's invincible. He doesn't give a fuck about his neck. He's in. Like, give me the ball. I'm going to do it. And then, so I was just all, from that point on, as soon as I read those stats, I was like, I'm all in on this guy. And we had him sort of like early, mid round 2. And then when we did the strength of schedule podcast, Titans have like the best strength of schedule across all 3 major final systems. So you like started creeping him. So he's definitely in the top 10 picks for us now, along with Jaden Campbell.
Yeah. And even before he did his neck, like you look back to 2024, and he was pumping out hundreds left, right, and center. He's a top tier player. And the fact that, like you mentioned, Brien, like he came back so strong after his injury, like it's such a massive
like I
injury.
said, I'm talking I say his injury by the ear, going against myself, because I reckon you could probably get a screen grab of me saying like he's not even going to be. I'm worried about him being the same next year, let alone coming back, because everyone at that point was asking, is he going to come back that like in 2025? And I said, look, I'd be surprised. I'm even worried about him next year. So like egg on my face, like he made me look like a dick, but whatever, man, I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'm having,
he just seems like that type of guy, the exception to the rule type guy. Like even 100%. In the 3 80-minute games he played at NRL level last year, he averaged 72.
And then you look at what he averaged in 2024, 72.
Yeah. No, I'm in, boys. I'm hitching my wagon. I know it might be low hanging fruit from a classic standpoint, but like guys like Couchman weren't far off. I'm big on Flegler as well, so hopefully I go 3 from 3. But yeah, no, officially unless Tino and Jaden Campbell go down with massive injuries tomorrow and the Titans attack is just cooked, which is what happened last year with Campbell. But it'll be for now. It's Keanu Keeney.
Yeah,
Get
fuck,
around
my
him.
side's
And something
peppered with
that's
Titans, so
something that struck a nerve with me when I was listening to one of Guru's podcasts is he was like, I can see Kinney being a top 5 draft pick from 2027 onwards for the next 5 years. So what side of history do you want to be on, guys? Do you want to be on the right side of history in 2026? Fuck, I do. I'm all in.
And he's a guy who I would love to own. I would happily watch Titans games week in and week out to watch him get around because that signed me up.
And we spoke about your decision with your dynasty league. I've got a keeper league where I've got to choose between Walshy, Keanu Kinney, and Terrell May as my keeper. So yeah,
but you only get to keep one.
I only get to keep one, and
Kenny.
your first pick in the draft. Your first pick in the draft is decided on your overall points. So it's got to be Kinney. Yeah. I'll potentially get Kinney and then get freaking Terrell May in return anyway.
Yeah, there's just something in the air about Kinney for this year. Yeah, I'm going to be very jealous if I don't get him and someone else gets him with.
Watching him go to work in the Pac Champs with Brown and everyone else, it was otherworldly.
Yeah, and like Brian mentioned, the confidence that he had in the Pac Champs. That's the thing you take out of that. He was just ripping and a fucking tearing.
I'm in, boys. I'm in. Get me around him.
That's good gear. That's very good gear. Well, Brian, that's it. We've done it. Mate, and under 2 hours too. Is that like a record?
No, that's a record for us.
Fucking oath.
My wife usually pegs us in for 2.5, 3 hours when we come out and record this one. So
you're just getting better at it.
That's more concise.
Yeah.
Well, we got an hour and 20 minutes in before we even spoke about Adam Dewey, boys. We're all business.
That was such a big miss by us. Jesus.
That's boy, oh boy.
It won't happen again.
Boys. I definitely think there's some value to be had from an injury standpoint. I think the hardest thing is just the injury stuff, which is usually quite valuable. Everything has been rocked by today, I think, just in terms of we don't know where we stand at the moment. So hopefully we get some more clarification so you boys can, give us the stats over the next couple of weeks, and then I can kind of build that into my analysis as well, and then we'll see where we end up.
Yeah, I think we all need to just catch our breath.
Yeah,
and take a deep breath and just wait for confirmation from Supercoach HQ. Because then what Wook and I were talking about in the podcast we just released on the Patreon about talking about this is we don't know what's going on behind closed doors over there. There obviously is direct comparison that everyone can do between NRL.com and Fox Stats, and sometimes you can find some really big discrepancies and very big margins, but you don't know if there's some sort of buffer there that they've worked out to make the transition smoother between the two stat providers. You've got no idea what's going on. So we just need to okay, there is going to be a difference, but let's just take a breath, take a beat, and wait for some confirmation. And once we get that confirmation, then we can start diving into. Okay,
I saw someone saying that there might even be a repricing of players, from a classic perspective, which then will affect our draft boards, obviously, as drafters. They'll do it internally where they'll feed all their players through and they'll reprice them going into this season, which would then obviously reprice them in draft as well. So it'd be
how is that going to work with us?
Why would you do this before the team picker came out?
Yeah, but how is that going to work? We've all got our round one teams in.
The NRL changed the rules of the fucking game with 3 weeks to go. We can have a crack at Supercoach, but we're talking about the actual National Rugby League changed its rules with 3 weeks to go. And last time they did this, whenever it was in 2020 or 2021, we had the highest concussions numbers through the roof. Because when you change stuff at the last minute, it doesn't go well. And I think Supercoach are facing the same.
Are we still waiting for that report or the study that What's he was
From
running
Gus.
through? It's Gus Good. He said, "Oh,
boy.
it's going to shake the
12
foundations of the
months, it'll
league."
shake. Maybe maybe it's the headgear study. Maybe
It's the bubble headgear. I told you.
It's the bubble wrap, 100%.
Yeah, that's right.
We need more studies into the bubble wrap.
Yeah,
headgear.
exactly.
It's obviously
Just put an accelerometer in there. It'll be sweet. They covered. It's fine.
All right, boys. I think we're done. We've covered all bases. Plenty of dribble. Brien, thanks for coming on as always. You're a big fan of the rub, and you love getting on here with, like I said, your soft, supple hands that you spend all day rubbing other people's calves down. You get on here, and we really love your work, mate.
No, boys, it's a favourite of the preseason. You'll never get rid of me, so it's good fun.
Fantastic, bro. Well, good luck in your drafts. Adam Dewey to the moon.
Boys. I hope the fucking new scoring system suits Adam Dewey, I tell you.
Oh, for sure.
Ooh, yeah, if he's in the halfback, it might hurt him, actually.
Maybe not the best.
He'll overcome it, boys. He'll overcome it. Right. He'll rise above.
Yeah, more tackles for Adam Dewey, probably.
For sure.
All right. Toodaloo. Love you all.
See you,
Kisses.
Catches.
Get that India. Ta-ta!